I had no idea what was going on. No clue. What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to discuss some of my favorite YA slash dystopian movies. Most of these movies are like the ones that made our childhoods, or at least my childhood, even though most of them were very dark and traumatizing, but we move. Honestly, the content of those types of movies were like very mature. I don't know if the movie theaters back then like had an age limit, but I got in. But yeah, the dystopian, like that genre like is very missed. Like, where are the new fantasy movies like that? Like, I see all these remakes, but like, can we get something new? Like give us something new and fresh that hasn't been done before. Seriously, I feel like Hollywood is like running out of ideas. Like all these remasters, redos, recycles. Like, give us a new fantasy movie. Like, give us a new one so we could gag over it. Like, we're having to rewatch the old ones. Not that I'm complaining. Speaking of rewatch, I know like Netflix just announced that all of the Hunger Games movies are now on Netflix now. This is not sponsored, but Netflix, if you're watching this, hit me up. Anyway, before we get into the video, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to check out all my other videos and playlists. I'll leave them all down in the description and you guys can check that out later. All right, the first movie we're gonna be talking about is The Maze Runner. Maze Runner, I personally was never like obsessed with Maze Runner when it was coming out. The story of the movie was like, okay, it's not nothing like super unique. There's a bunch of dystopian movies that are like that, have like a fake world and we're trying to survive and escape. That's like not a new story. So I guess that was one of the reasons why I wasn't really too like keen on Maze Runner. I didn't hate the movies, but Maze Runner was always just like a kind of like an afterthought for me. I mainly was tuning in to see Dylan. The movies, let's be real, Dylan was bringing in the views, the revenue. Like, let's be real, don't lie. It never like, I feel like, got to that level of like, ooh, it's untouchable. Like Maze Runner, I feel like if y'all want to do a remake of that, if y'all want to do a remake of the Maze Runner, like I would be with that, because I actually feel like it could be better and be done better than it was. So all right, the next one we're gonna be talking about is The Giver. I had no idea what was going on. No clue. But I guess I really liked the story. Like, they were trying to make everybody perfect by giving them those injections, trying to like suppress like their like unique qualities. It had a good and decent unique storyline. So it didn't get a sequel though, so could they have made a sequel on the movie? I mean, the first one was pretty solid. I mean, they brought in Taylor Swift, y'all. They brought in Taylor Swift. I feel like that was extra for like a little bit of more views for the movie, but I mean, I guess. All right, next movie we're gonna be talking about is a very, this one is near and dear to my heart, and I feel like it does not deserve all the slander that it gets. Divergent. I always loved Divergent, especially the first movie, which I feel like a lot of people feel like is the best one, which it is like, it was. I don't care what the discourse is. Like, I feel like the trilogy, it was a solid trilogy, like, of the movies. A lot of people say that it was trash. It could never be this movie, or it could never be that movie. I feel like, for me at least, Divergent was a huge part of when I was younger. Like, I loved that movie. Me and my sister would always rewatch it multiple times. It had a solid storyline. Like, we're fighting the different factions. That was fun. Like, I remember like I was trying to see like what faction I would be in, like Amity, Dauntless, Candor. Like, I feel like the worst faction to be in would be Candor. Like, I feel like I'm not a liar, y'all, but it's hard to tell the truth sometimes. That would be the most miserable one. And obviously Abnegation, like, they have to be selfless, but I mean, being selfless is a good thing. I'm not selfish, but yeah, sometimes I gotta put me first. But again, like, I don't get all the hate with Divergent. Like, a lot of people say it didn't live up to what it could have been. To an extent, I agree. Like, the last movie, I feel like was kind of a letdown, especially like the ending, and they could have done a lot better with the last movie, but I still liked it. I still liked when, her and Four, like, they had like a little breaking apart. The second one was good. That one was good. I do not care. The second movie was really good. Insurgent was good. The third one is where I feel like they lost a lot of people. A lot of people don't like Allegiant at all. But I mean, I feel like it was decent. Like, overall, the three movies, I would give it a solid 8 out of 10. Like, it does not deserve all the hate it gets. Divergent was good. All right, we got a big one. The next movie we're gonna be talking about is Harry Potter. And I know it's gonna hurt a lot of y'all hearts watching this, the fans. I've never been a huge Harry Potter fan. I still don't think to this day I've watched all of the Harry Potter movies, but whenever I speak to an actual fan of Harry Potter, they always tell me, read the books, go read the books first, or they just recommend the books to me. Why is that? Like, are the books just way better than the movies? Like, is that why? Like, they always tell me, girl, read the books, like the movies can come later. But I mean, I'm not really a reader. I was back then, like I read a lot, but these days, you know, I'm trying to see. I don't know. But yeah, I think the one that I watched the most was The Prisoner of Azkaban, I think it was called. That's the one that came on the most, like TV wise. Again, I never watched it in theaters, but that's the one that I always saw when I would turn on the TV that would come on, and that's the one I watched the most. The first one obviously I've seen, but again, like Divergent, I feel like the main thing that drew a lot of people to the movies, even the people that haven't read the like Harry Potter books in general, was the whole system of like, what house are you, Hufflepuff, Slytherin, like that it had kind of the same thing. People were trying to find. I feel like that's where it got most of its movie fan base, because I don't want to say anything wrong for the the fans of the books be like, no, it was the books are, you know, they got a lot of fans. They got me. There was somewhere that said that they were gonna do like a reboot or remaster. I forgot which streaming service it was. Was it HBO? Let me check. Okay, I'm just seeing people saying they don't want it, but I feel like somewhere they announced that there was gonna be a reboot and that the main stars were coming back. Was that scrapped or something? Like, let me know, y'all. I will get there, guys. I'm gonna watch all of the Harry Potter movies, but I was just never a huge fan, even though I would love to be, because I love that. I love being a part of fan bases and stuff, and every time I like meet a Harry Potter fan, they make me want to just become a fan myself, even though I haven't seen the entire franchise. But it's coming, y'all. It's coming. All right, the next movie we're gonna be talking about is Hunger Games, guys. This is near and dear to my heart. I love the Hunger Games to this day. It's on Netflix, guys. They just put all the movies on Netflix. Get on Netflix right now, because I saw somewhere that they are only having it up for a month, which is crazy. Like, we need to digest each of the movies one by one before we jump to the next one. Like, give us our time to process Netflix. I feel like Hunger Games is so complete. First movie, second movie, third movie, the last one, like all of the Hunger Games movies are complete. The first one, guys, like way to capture like my attention. Like the first one, I'm not gonna lie, it caught me off guard. Like the most traumatizing scene from the first movie, I feel like, is when that girl, I forgot her name, she got stung by all those killer bees. That was so traumatizing to me when I was younger. I was like, oh my god. And obviously when Rue died, like that was really, really sad. But then Catching Fire, that's how you do a sequel. Oh my god, y'all know the second movie, when you're doing a sequel, you gotta do it right, or you're gonna lose all the fans that you had from the first movie. So that's how you do a sequel. That's when Katniss started to really become, you know, she started to become, you know, mother in Catching Fire. And then I loved the way the games changed up a little bit, you know, how with the rotating island and how it was a clock and all the new characters and all, like, and then the ending, they left us on a cliffhanger when like the big explosion happened, and then Katniss was like, where's Peeta? Like what happened? Like that was a cliffhanger for the ending. That was good. Way to keep us waiting for the third movie. I feel like the third movie was the most depressing of them all. Like that movie was dark. It was like them trying to find Peeta. The whole games were like, it was just a disaster after the last movie. Like I feel like, guys, Hunger Games is complete. I've seen some people say they don't like the last one, but I'm still overall, I don't like to give 10 out of 10. So overall, I'm giving Hunger Games like in entirety a 9.5 or even a 9, like 9.1, 9.2, 9.6, whatever. It's a 9. It's I love it. I feel like it's the most complete out of all of them. Now that movie, I'm not upset that it's getting a prequel, not a sequel. It's getting a prequel. I think it's called Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. That movie, I'm actually really excited to see that one. I think it's coming out, is it this year or next year it's coming out? But the cast looks really, really good. I really want to see that prequel. I wonder what it's gonna be based on. Like that's a movie I'm not upset that they're bringing back. Even obviously like the main characters aren't gonna be there. It's gonna be new, but I feel like that's good. It deserves it because it's so good. Hunger Games, y'all, so good. All right, and the last movie we're gonna be talking about, Twilight. Twilight, I feel like has a huge divide. Like it's one of the movie franchises that has the biggest divide of lovers and haters. Like even though now I feel like a lot of people are coming around to it, back then, like sometimes people would get made fun of for liking Twilight, which is crazy to me. Like, I mean, I never got made fun of for liking it. I was like really vocal about my love for Twilight. Even to this day, guys, I rewatch it probably like 4 or 5 times a year. I know I said I never give movies a 10. Guys, the whole thing was a 10. It's a 10. It's a 10, guys. Twilight never disappointed me. Okay, let's backtrack, because the 4th movie, Breaking Down Part 1, I will say the whole, like, the ending sealed it, but the beginning of that movie was kind of the ending did wake me up though when she gave birth and whatever. The baseball scene, I feel like, will always be a staple. It's an example of cinema. It's what movies and films should be. It has transcended time. The baseball scene, guys, that it's 10 years, 15 years, 50 years from now, I feel like that scene is going to be talked about so good. Even though, like, when it was first coming out and that scene came out, I feel like no one thought anything of it, but now it's like huge. It's iconic. And then again, the Edward versus Jacob, Team Edward, Team Jacob, that thing also spawned a lot of fans when it was coming out. I hate seeing interviews where Robert Pattinson, he's like talking and he's like acting like he hates it. Like, that movie made you. Let's not forget. Like, I know you were in Harry Potter too, whatever, but Twilight, I feel like that movie made you, Robert. Don't ever forget where you came from. Don't forget your roots, okay? Most movies, even though they have books, they'll just end it at like 1 or 2 or 3. But Twilight, they did a whole thing. And then I read somewhere that they were gonna do an adaptation of Edward's story. Like, there was a book coming out where it was gonna be based on Edward's POV or something like that. I don't know, but again, I don't know where it is. Like, did it get scratched too? What's going on? But yeah, I know a lot of people are hoping for a reboot or something, but I feel like that's one of the movies, like don't touch it. Like, we don't need a remaster or remake. Don't touch Twilight. I feel like it's perfect. It doesn't need to be touched. It doesn't need to be remade or remastered. Netflix, don't get any ideas of making a Twilight show. Like, they love to turn movies into shows. It's fine. It's good the way it was. I feel like it doesn't need anything more. Twilight, I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10, y'all. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. I don't care. All right, guys, that was me talking about some of the best dystopian / YA movies. Let me know your favorite. It doesn't have to be one that I mentioned in here, but these are just some of my favorites and a lot of the ones that I see discourse about all the time online. But let me know your personal YA like movie. It doesn't have to be fantasy based. It could be any. Leave them in the comments. Let me know. And for my Harry Potter fans, I promise y'all, I promise I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna watch everything and I'll get back to y'all. If you want to see more videos like this on film and TV shows, movies, I have a whole playlist where I do ranking characters, and I have other videos on commentary. I'll leave those down in the description. Don't forget to check that out after the video. Don't forget again to like and subscribe, guys, and I'll see you guys very soon in the next one.